Welcome. In today's video, we will walk through setting up the database on Amazon RDS. We will create a database instance, configure it, and connect to it. Let's get started. So this is a general RDS setup, architecture diagram for the RDS setup. So in general case, we create an RDS inside a virtual private cloud, and then an EC2 instance, and connect the RDS with an EC2 instance. So this is an application layer, this is a database layer. So in our tier architecture, we connect RDS via an app. So that's the general case, and we have a security group that secures our EC2 instance as well. But in this today's lab, we're not gonna use EC2 instance. So we're just gonna allow the RDS to be connected directly from our laptop. So let's dive into the lab. Let's go to our Amazon console, type RDS, select auto run RDS over here, database, and then create database. So we can create using the easy create, and it will automatically set up whatever configuration needed and creates a simple database instance. But in our case, let's try to manipulate it and customize per our need. So standard create, we are going to select MySQL database for this example. Engine version, so we can select different SQL engine versions. So this is the latest one, 8.4.5, but this might be a little bit buggy. This might be not stable, so by default it selects 8.0, so we're going to go with 8.0. We can select the templates for production, dev test, or free tier. So if we use production, we can select multi availability zone deployment, so it creates a database instance on two different availability zones, and if one goes down, it automatically starts the second one. Or we can even create 3 instances and create a replicas. So these are more costly because it creates extra database instances and keep on running, or maybe like keep on standby. So these are for production level, but for our example, we can just use free tier right now and create just one instance. For database name, so this is not actually a database name, this is database instance name, so we can just put any name that we want. For now, I'm going to use MyDB instance. This is main user, so by default it's admin. We can choose anything else like root or even different names that you want, but admin is good for now. Credential management, so do you want to use AWS Secret Manager for credential for logins, or we can just use our normal username and password. So for our case, username would be admin and password is the one that you set over here. So I'm just going to put one simple password. I hope it match. So after the instance, after that we can do instance configuration. So we use free tier, so it's gonna select the free tier instance. If you want more more RAM or more CPU, more powerful instance, then you can select this, but you need to deselect the free tier and go for dev or production for that use case. Similar to the storage, if you want faster storage, you can just select this. For now, this is good enough for our testing. As you said, we don't need an EC2 instance connection. We'll just make it direct connection from our laptop. So we are going to select to connect to EC2 compute resource. IPv4 is good. Virtual private network. So yeah, we can create a new virtual private network, virtual private cloud, or we can just use the default one. But we just need one VPC for a database instance to be stored. Like in this diagram, RDS comes within the VPC. Security group, so it selects default security group. Before that, subnet group, not security group, my bad. So it only have one subnet. If you create multiple subnet, then you can choose from here, but my default VPC have one subnet, so this is good. We want to enable public access because we want it to be accessed by our own laptop. If we choose no, then the database can only be accessed by EC2 instance, which is inside the same VPC, that is default VPC. For security group, I'm gonna choose create a new one, because by default it's not secure enough, or this is the default thing that provided by AWS. We don't need it. We're just gonna create a new one and just name it DBS or RDS access to me. Availability zone, if you choose one, then it will create database on that particular availability zone. If you choose no preference, then it will randomly select one of these. So yeah, no is good enough. Yeah, so that's it for the setting. For database authentication, we can use IAMs, roles and stuff for database connection, or we can just use password. So we already set up the password over here, right? Apart from that, if you need any kind of monitoring, then you can enable enhanced monitoring, and it will start logging in our CloudWatch logs. So if you want to filter out, like if you just need an audit log or only the error log, then you can select this kind of stuff. We don't need any sort of extra configuration. So if you want a new database directly created after your instance is created, then you can just select the database name over here. Otherwise, you can just skip this. We're going to skip this part. Create a database now. So database might take some time to create, so maybe like few minutes, 1 to 2 minutes. So I'm just gonna pause the video for now. So yeah, database is being created now. It took some time, maybe like 3 to 4 minutes. So once the database is created, you got the endpoint and a port number. So once the database is created, we need to establish connection to the database. But before that, let's go and check our security group over here. So you can click on this, and you can see the security group inbound. So it sets port range. So enable this port range for this particular IP address. So what is this IP address? So if I check my IP address online, refresh it, so you can see 18130. So this is my IP address. So when we create the security group from database, so it automatically tracks my IP address, public IP address, and then it sets in the security group. But if you want it to be able to access by anyone in the world, then you can just edit it and change it to anywhere for IP address 4. But for now, this is good, secure enough for me. Now let's go to database details and establish connection. So there are a few ways you can establish a connection to database. You can establish from application, you can establish from different database client, or you can establish from simple client in your terminal. So for this, we're going to use our terminal, or maybe we are also going to demonstrate using dbeaver, an application to connect to a database. This is an application for a client, okay? So you can just install a dbeaver in your Ubuntu system if you have a Linux, or you can just install from its website for Windows or Mac. After the dbeaver is installed, you can just run dbeaver. Just gonna ignore this. So this is the application. So how do you start a connection? The thing that you need is the endpoint first. So just copy this endpoint. You can click over here to start a connection, and then database. You can select MySQL, because we created an SQL database, MySQL database. Next, it says server host. So instead of this, we're just going to paste our instance endpoint, and port number by default it selects this database. So we don't have a database right now in our database instance, so we're just gonna ignore this. Our username is admin, if you remember, and password is the one that I set, and just finish. So if you click over here, it starts the connection, and you can see the connection is established. If you go into the database, we only got 6. Let's create a new database over here. We're just gonna create database. Database name could be test db1 and just okay. So we created a test database. Inside the database there are no tables, so if you want, create a new table. I'm just going to name it new table abcd, and then save it. So as you can see, this is a user interface and it automatically generates the create table command, which creates the table inside the database, right? So execute. Okay, so there is some error. Okay, for the demo purpose, we can just create a database and we can check it out in different ways. Okay, so we don't need to create a table. Maybe there is some configuration need to be done in this application, but that's not the point of this video. So let's go and start a connection from our terminal as well and check. So just open a terminal. You need to have installed MySQL over here. So if you run MySQL version, so this should pop up, or something like this should pop up. How to install, I have given a documentation over here. You can install via this command in Linux, and for Windows maybe you can search online for that. So how to establish a connection? To establish a connection, you can just run this command. Let me just update it a little bit. So for RDS endpoint, we're gonna use this endpoint over here. Port number is, so dash p means we are specifying the port number, so 3206 is good. Dash u means username, so our username is admin, and dash p means we are gonna log in via password. Okay, so capital P, uppercase P is for port number and lowercase p is for password. Just copy this, go to terminal, and make sure you have MySQL installed, so whenever you use MySQL version, it should pop up something like this. Without the installation, you cannot use this command. Enter it, so it asks for password. So I'll put password over here and press enter. So my SQL connection is established. If you run some certain commands like so databases, press it out. So you can see test DB is over here. So we just created that from our DB, right? So our database is up and running. We can execute different commands. So let's see if you got any commands over here. So we can create a test database and then create table inside it. So let's just copy this entirely and put it over here, and then again so databases. So you can see we got a test DB now. Because of the command, we create database and table. We can use different sort of commands to list our database and all different stuff. Let's go to dbviewer and check it again. So we got a dbviewer. Let's see if you can refresh it somehow. Refresh. So once the refresh, it shows the test DB database is there now. So our database is up and running, and we can establish a connection. So yeah, that's it for this video.